Okay.
Well, there's a film that's coming out, and it's called If My Paintings Were on These Walls. It's a short film essay, and it's written and produced by Kim Johnson, hosted and narrated by actress, author, and renowned singer Debbie Boone. Thank you so much for talking with me here today.
Thank you, Kim. Good to be with both of you.
Hey Kim, let's start with you. How did this whole watercolor series happen? And how did it transform from the watercolors into a film?
Um, okay, well, I'm gonna try and do this without crying, lady. And I did just have surgery, so if I start to jumble my words, that's why. But anyway, my mother was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer right in the height of COVID, and that's what they thought she had. It was COVID. She woke me up at 2 in the morning saying, "Hey, I need to go to the hospital. Can you take me?" And I said, "Sure." But by the time I got to her, there was no way I could take her anywhere. So I called the ambulance, and they all
Hmm.
thought the same thing. They thought she had cancer, or they thought she had COVID too. But anyway, we got to the hospital, and yeah, and they did tests, and within, I want to say, 60 minutes, they came back to me and my mom and said, "Hey, so how long have you had cancer?" And my mom said, "I don't have cancer." And they go,
Hmm.
"Yeah, you do, and it's pretty bad." And they gave her a year, 6 months to a year. She lived 20 days. Um, and so, that time I was a pretty bitter person. I just disliked anybody in the healthcare field. I disliked her doctor because, I think, I thought maybe he could have caught it, but, I don't know. But, I was a pretty nasty. I had, my attitude stunk, in the time that she was still there. And I met a lot of times I left the room and I took my sketchbook with me. And, God kind of worked on my heart a little bit because one of the first things I saw was, well, heard, there was a patient who was screaming, and then, the F bomb was flying right and left. And, and next thing you know, this nurse came out. I mean, she was bawling, and something came flying out right behind her and almost hit her in the back of the head. I think you could hear things flying. Anyway, she crumbled to the floor and just in tears, and someone else came and consoled her. And that was the first sketch that I made. I wanted to be, conspicuous, but, and each one of my sketches are, they're real accounts, but they are fictitious people. So I don't want anybody to think that they're going to recognize anybody in those pictures, because they're not, because they're, for, HIPAA reasons. I want to do that. But but I just went on. I made many of those, and after my mom died, I pretty much shut down. You saw me, Kim. I called you once a week, and we talked, and you listened to me. Just bitch. That word. I'm sorry, I just said it, but and that's exactly what I was doing. Because I was bitter. I was upset. And my mom was gone, and I'm an only child, so. And my dad left us years ago, so I don't have any whole lot of memories of him. But anyway, I was it. But I'm thinking, what do I do now? And when I said I can't live in this house anymore, because we lived there for 47 years
Hmm.
together, my mom and I. And yeah, and what do you do? I said, there's just no way I can stay at this house anymore. I mean, I even the time that I put the house up for sale, I had a million friends that came over and helped me morning and night. I worked on my breaks because we were working from home because of COVID. So on my breaks and in my waking time, I was packing, um, and got the house ready and got the stuff out of it. And my realtor put it up for sale, and the first open house, it sold the first day.
Hmm.
So it was like, okay, now I got to find somewhere to live. So, God led me out to, what my friend, no, I know, Kim, I'm sure you've heard this before, and Debbie, I'm sure you have too, is where I live at now. It's called Honkyville. Um, my friend who lives in Atlanta came to visit me. She goes, "You didn't tell me you lived in Honkyville." And I live out in the country, Debbie. So that tells you anything. It's I am one of a few. And I do see other people of color here, and they look at me, I look at them like, what are you doing out here? I go, what are you doing out here? And that's the kind of looks we give each other, but that's okay. But I know the Lord led me out here for some reason, but I didn't know what it was. I'm like, God, why do you have me out here? I mean, the smell of animals are everywhere out here, and
yeah,
got to keep the windows shut because certain times of the year there's yeah. Anyway, and I made fun of people who lived in the country on when I was growing up. So that
yeah.
I had no reason to say anything now because I was a country girl.
Yeah.
And I am a country girl. But anyway, the Lord led me to get those sketches out again. And I said, I do have, gratitude for those people who worked in any capacity of of healthcare, because they took very good care of my mom. Even though I did advocate for her, they took care of me. I mean, even though I didn't, they come and ask me if I wanted a blanket, if I need anything to eat, and even though my attitude stuck, they still, they still came and tried to take care of me.
Yeah.
My mom couldn't talk a whole lot, but she looked at me like, knock it off, don't, but as time went on, I said, I want to use this, and not just for me, because it's really not about me. And it's right. About all these people. I mean, even from people mopping the floors to directing traffic to, whatever, the guards that sit outside and check you in. And, there was one I saw every day. He knew I was there to see my mom, and, and yeah.
Yeah. Debbie, I mean, you're narrating this, you're hosting this. What are your feelings when you look at these images, and it's going to be in this beautiful film, If My Paintings Were on These Walls? What role do you think this is going to play for people that see this and take in these images?
Well, I think there are a lot of things, a lot of good that can come from it. I mean, just being a part of it and reading the script that Kim wrote, it gave me a different perspective. I too lost my mom not all that long ago. And so I identified so much with the kinds of scenes that she depicted, and things that I had seen there in the hospital, because I was there almost every day for wow. Not quite 3 months, including hospice at home. So you saw, a little bit of everything. But it gave me compassion, because like Kim, I got angry a couple of times at different, and you realize that anger might have been somewhat displaced. And sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes there was just, stuff going on that made it harder on my mom than it should have been. And I wanted to advocate for her. But the thing is, you don't know what the person you're talking to and maybe you're being short with has been through all during that day, and why that scene might have played out the way that it did. And it just gave me more compassion for the rough times, and a lot more gratitude for the people that were just there and really taking good care of my mom, and even us, my dad and me and my sister who were around, and particularly in hospice too.
Yeah.
But I don't know of anything else that exists like this. I scroll a lot through all the different streaming services looking, what's out there to watch, documentaries. I've never seen a documentary, that addresses these issues, and really is a loving thank you to the caregivers, to the doctors and the nurses and the people that take good care, and the first responders and all of that kind of thing. So I think this is a labor of love. I think probably, Kim, you would attest that this has been cathartic and healing in many ways for you. It was for me just narrating. So I think, people can come at it from wherever they come at it, but it either gives you gratitude or understanding, compassion. And hopefully it will be something that a lot of caregivers can feel like people have seen them and noticed and been grateful for the hard work. I've said before, Kim knows I've got a couple of friends who are nurses, and during COVID, and even still, the long hours and just the horrifying things that they have to see. You know, there's PTSD for these people.
Right.
You can't watch this day in and day out and not be traumatized yourself. So I think this was just such a loving gift to offer to the people that work so hard to take care of us.
Yeah, and for me, I too have never seen anything like it. As long as I've known Kim, she's been an original. Everything she's done is out of the box, you know. And so, if I were going to ask you, Kim, if my paintings were on these walls, dot dot dot, complete it. If my paintings were on these walls,
it would be my show of gratitude, my way of saying thank you. I sometimes, believe it or not, am a loss for words. Kim, well, don't answer that. Kim, you and Debbie, you don't know me well enough that you would. Cherry does, but Cherry probably say, yeah, right. But I do it when I can't speak. Art speaks for me. When I can't, I don't know how to express myself. I'll write a song. I mean, I do music. The music that's in my film is all my music that I did myself. And yeah, when words, you know, and I seen a poster. It said, "When words fail, music speaks." So, and that's very true for me. So.
Oh yes, me as well. So tell me, when and where can we see this film and hear Debbie narrating and hosting it?
Good question. No, just kidding. No, I'm actually, my goal is to have it done and ready. I'm at least, Debbie, I would like you to see it first before it goes to everybody else. There is one TV station that's waiting. It has already asked if they could air it. And they pretty much do. This is the same station that my mother used to donate money to. And she has a brick there with her name on it. And so pretty much when they saw my mom coming, they jumped, and saw how high. But and she said, I only do this because this is a love from my daughter. She loves this. So, that's why. But anyway, that's where it's going to be. It will be on YouTube, and where it goes from there, I'm going to let the Lord take that reign. Hopefully, I have a couple friends that are, I'm not sure exactly what their titles are, but it's like public relations for, is it Corwell, Kim, that they're called?
Yeah, now? Corwell.
Used to be called Spectrum, and they are, they want to see it too and see what they can do to help me get it. But Mercy House or Trinity, whatever, everybody changed their name, so
I told you, Kim, this is gonna be big. I can just feel it. There's nothing like it. So where can people reach out to both of you? Social media, website.
The usual DebbieBoone.com for me. Debbie Boone Media is my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. At Debbie Boone Media is how you can find me there. And I'm horrible at all of it. I'm bad at keeping my website updated. I'm bad at posting on social media.
No comment.
Strong suit.
And what about you?
I'm ordinarius.net. That I'm working on getting a new website. I was hacked, so I had to take it down. And it happens to the best of us. So, but Ordinarius, it was it's extraordinary work done by ordinary people, and that's why I call it that. And it's in Ordinarius is Latin because my mom spoke fluent Latin.
Wow.
She spoke fluent French, and I speak fluent Spanish, but she would. That's the one thing I do miss. She would sing Christmas songs that in church during congregation. She was singing Latin and changed to French, and I missed that. She was a very quiet, you know her, Kim. She was a
Oh
very quiet.
yeah, she was amazing.
She was quiet. She just was one of those ones that she was quiet but carried a big stick. So you
Yeah.
didn't. And Debbie, I will say, my mom was pretty strict when I was growing up. I was listening to one of the interviews that you did, and it was like the one you were talking about. You didn't dare say you had too much homework because you couldn't go to church on Wednesday night. It was Saturday. It was Sunday night, Sunday morning. I dare say that by the time we got done with Sunday, it was not a day of rest. I was involved in the orchestra. We had 5 services, during the day. We had fellowship group at night.
Wow.
Sometimes we didn't get home till 11 o'clock at night, and I was still in school then. So it was, yeah. And Wednesday nights, I often did my homework and did my studying during church because there was nothing. You couldn't stay home. It wasn't an option.
Well, God had his hand on your life for as long as you can remember. I know that.
Well, I wanted to tell you one more thing, Debbie, before you go, is I went to a Catholic school all my life, and that's kind of where I started. They all knew that they called me the African American Debbie Boone. Just because and
because you sang "You Light Up My Life."
I didn't sing it a lot. They used to sing it to me, but they knew I liked her. And one of the guys that I went to school with has had my back for years. He was at my mom's funeral and everything, and he sent me a screenshot of this. It was like a yearbook that they put together in 8th grade, and each one had what you wanted to be when you grew up and who you admired the most. It says Debbie Boone.
Oh. How sweet is that, man? This is like a dream come true. I mean, this is amazing, an amazing story. God does amazing things. I can't wait to see what he does with all of this. Hey, listen, thank you so much for your time. I know how busy everybody is, so it's hard to get together, but I want to be respectful of that. So anyway, thank you so much for talking with me here today. And we'll post all about it and get the news out.
Great.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.